Hi guys, it's been a while since we talked about relationships, and I want to talk about something that's becoming increasingly prevalent. And it's something many people don't even realize, let alone acknowledge that they have. But if you want to live the best possible life you can, and your most significant relationship isn't adding to it, but in fact taking away from that, then you need to hear this. We're talking about toxic relationships. Why talk about toxic relationships when our focus is on living a full life? Well, quite simply because many people are in them and they don't even know it. And that prevents them from living the best possible life they can. Now, no one enters a relationship thinking, I hope this is going to be the most energy draining, emotionally devastating, sleep depriving, life purpose destroying experience ever. Woo! And yet, that's what many people have. And what's worse, they've become so used to it, it's become their norm. You need to make sure that's not you. So, what is a toxic relationship? Well, first think of the kind of relationship that you'd like to have. I'm sure it's something uplifting, empowering, rejuvenating, something that gives you positive energy, brings you to great heights, comforts you in distress, and in general just makes you feel good. Well, a toxic relationship does exactly the opposite. It drains you. You feel depressed, oppressed, repressed, suppressed, all the presses you see, and that harms your well-being and your very life. So how do you recognize a toxic relationship? Well, first you have to understand that toxic people have different presentations. Now I'm just going to give you a few of them, but more importantly, after that, I'll be giving you the red flags to look out for so you know if you're in a toxic relationship. So make sure you stay till the end. The deprecator. This person constantly belittles you and makes you feel small. Instead of boosting your self-esteem, they leech it out of you. They make you feel stupid, inadequate. They laugh at you in public, correct you, embarrass you, and behave in other condescending ways. Now the danger is you actually start to believe it. So your self-worth plunges and it affects all areas of life, from work and business to even your personal interactions. You might even start to believe that you're really lucky that they're in your life because no one else would want to be, or so they'd have you believe. 2. My personal favorite, the bad-tempered person. Now, the bad-tempered person is one of the most toxic people out there. Quick to anger, easily annoyed, they blow a fuse at the slightest provocation. And you feel like you're walking on eggshells all the time, and the stress of not knowing when they'll explode just drains you. And any attempts at reason just leads to more screaming. And heaven help you if you suggest getting help. You can only cower and hope that it will pass. Coming in third, we have the guilt tripper. Now, this master manipulator makes you feel guilty about any and everything that goes wrong. If they cheated, it was because you weren't loving enough. They also know how to induce guilt. So if you wanted to leave because of the cheating, they'll talk about staying together for the sake of the children, or the business, or whatever. Now the danger is that when they can induce guilt, they can also take it away. So if you behave the way they want, they can make you feel great, and then you feel like you want more of it. And you end up being conditioned like Pavlov's dogs or cats. Next, we have the Teflon reflector. Now, nothing sticks to this person. No matter how unhappy you are, trying to express this has no effect. In a healthy relationship, they'll register what you're saying and try to make things right. Not so with the Teflon reflector. Not only do your pain or pleas for support go unanswered, it gets reflected on you. So in the end, you are the one apologizing, consoling, and making things right for them. Now the danger is that at a time when you really need support, when you're at a real low and your energy and your emotional reserves are low, you now have to dig even deeper to make things right for them. So you end up more drained than ever before, headed for a breakdown. And bringing up the rear, we have the controlling paranoid. Now this person is intensely jealous and controlling. Extremely suspicious, they question everything you do, from being 10 minutes late to a Facebook smiley you send to someone else. They get angry and blow up anytime you want to catch up with a friend of the opposite gender. Now the danger is that love and patience and logic won't make any difference. They'll demand more and more accountability, monitor everything, until in the end, they'll insist on reading your phone messages. That's when you should really know it's time to get out. Alright, so those are 5 common presentations, but you don't really need to differentiate between them because the result of most toxic relationships tend to be the same, right? In what they do to you and how they make you feel. So, here are some red flags to look out for to find out if you are possibly in a toxic relationship. Here we go. First, you feel drained. Now, this is a common symptom across all kinds of toxic relationships. Instead of being at your best in this relationship as it should be, you're at your worst. And you know that old Jerry Maguire fantasy of
you complete me.
Well, in this case, it's more like you deplete me. You have no energy and interest in anything, from basics like work and exercise to higher level pursuits like your life purpose. You simply do not have the reserves. Now 2, we have the fact that unhappiness and unpleasantness seem to have become the norm. Any conversation can turn sour. Any promising date could have a nasty end. Any action, no matter how well-intentioned, could be misread. You find yourself going out of your way to avoid interacting just to save on unpleasantness, and you're actually relieved if plans are cancelled. Thirdly, we have a lack of respect in how they behave and how they speak to you. So it's things like shouting, screaming, ghosting you when they're unhappy with you without explanation, embarrassing you in public, telling you you're not good enough for this, for that, and the other reason. Lots of things like that. And any complaints you have about anything or anyone gets dismissed as being your fault. Number 4, they blame you for everything. Anything that goes wrong is your fault. Upset with their insensitivity, your own inability to take a joke. Upset at their constant put-downs, your own low self-esteem blowing things out of proportion. Upset with their cheating, your own actions pushing them away into the arms and the bed of someone else. 5, everything is one-sided. You are planning the dates, paying, performing acts of service, giving support, trying to make them feel happy. You are the one giving in, apologizing, trying to make up first. You are the one recognizing that things might not be right in the relationship and suggesting workshops, counseling, books and videos. And in the end, you are the only one going for therapy. 6, drama. Goddamn drama. Everything gets overblown. everything's a big deal. Plenty of shouting, screaming, crying, manufactured crisis, mountains out of molehills. You have no peace. 7. You can't communicate. They stonewall, shut you out when they're unhappy, refuse to listen to you, and you don't have conversations about your concerns, your challenges, your hopes, your goals, and your dreams. 8. It's all about them. Trying to express your unhappiness has no effect whatsoever. It always ends badly. They lose their temper and you end up consoling them, even if you were the one trying to express your unhappiness and your needs. It's just ironic, it's crazy. 9. You feel alone, so alone, because you have no support whatsoever. So you handle work stresses, family tragedies, financial crisis, and personal challenges all alone, while still trying to juggle the relationship and keep it going. 10. They always have some sad excuse for their bad behavior. For example, their past experience of having been cheated on before to explain their paranoid and controlling tendencies, or they're having a backdrop of divorced parents as a reason for their infidelity. 11. Trapped by sinking standards. Now your standards are now so low that you're accepting things you never would have before the relationship. Now whether it's cheating, not supporting your goals, shouting and other bad behavior, you just accept it all instead of getting out. And finally at number 12, you lose your sleep and your health. Now first, you lose your ability to sleep because of all of this. And then second, when the emotional torture takes a physical toll, your body says, enough. If you don't stop this shit, I'm going to shut us down so we can survive. So you fall ill repeatedly and your health deteriorates until one day you may have a breakdown, which ironically may be exactly what you need to wake you up. Alright, so those are 12 red flags you can use to help determine if you're in a toxic relationship. Although I half suspect that for many of us in a toxic relationship, we already have a deep instinctual sense of it. It's just a matter of acknowledging it. So why do toxic relationships persist? Well, I'm not a trained psychologist, but I believe there are two sides to the equation. Now, on the one side, you have toxic people who may have a background of narcissism or megalomania, traumatic experiences, low self-esteem, or even some innately bad qualities that make them behave in toxic ways. On the other side, you have the victim who stays in because deep down, there's some kind of need that they're getting from that relationship. Now, it could be things like companionship, validation, sex, some material gain, a roof over the head, even white knight syndrome. In other words, the reason that toxic relationships persist is there is a codependence going on, which is why I've said in a previous video that codependent relationships are probably the root of most unhappy relationships. Now, the danger is there are spurts of good behavior. So, a bad-tempered person may behave in a gentle way. A user may do something nice for you. And the crazy thing is that you've become so used to bad behavior that these glimmers get blown out of proportion. And when you're emotionally invested, you hang on to these glimmers as perhaps signs of the true person underneath. But in the end, it doesn't mean one damn thing. Why? Because you don't need to know the whys. You just need to understand and realize that you're in a toxic relationship and the situation won't change. You know, a lot of good people use these whys as reasons to stay in, to play therapist, to exercise love and sacrifice. But the longer this goes on, the longer you hang on, the more damaged you'll be, physically, mentally, emotionally. Then everything else that's important to you, your work, your relationships with other people, your life purpose will all crumble down. So you really, really, really need to get up. Now, how to get up is what we'll talk about in our next video. So have a serious think about this, and the next time we'll talk about the real practicalities and the considerations of doing that getting up. Alright? So in the meantime, please like this video, subscribe, hit that notifications button, and you'll know when that video comes out. Alright? All the best to you.